would journey to Ohio, where they were having the tryouts to get a job at Disney. Like, I wanted to play trumpet at Disney World. That's what I wanted. I thought that would be a super cool summer job. And I went there, and I went in there with utmost confidence, and I did my little thing, and the guy didn't seem impressed with what I was able to do. And then he gave me what's called a sight reading piece. He gave me a sight reading piece, and he laid this music out in front of me, and it was a jazzy kind of piece. But on music, the notes as they climb up the staff get higher and higher and higher, and on a trumpet, when you're trying to play high notes, you squeeze it out. Anyway, there were notes on the sight reading piece that were notes I'd never attempted to play before. They were so high. They were like little squealer notes, and I was like, I can't play this. And he escorted me out into the hallway and said, thanks for coming. And I remember, because I wasted my mother's time to like drive me to Ohio. I was a big fish. And I remember, like, to me, it was a big mistake, because earlier, when I was attempting to practice for that tryout, I had been working with a band director in the area, and he had kindly taken me aside, and he said to me something that sounded something like this. I'm paraphrasing. David, the Disney jobs are very, very competitive. And I was like, yeah, I know. No, they're very competitive. I'm not sure that you're ready for this. He tried to tell me. But I went anyway, because, why not? Just try. But it ended up being one of my, when I look back, a big regret, because I was embarrassed. Not that you shouldn't try things, but I was embarrassed because somebody had already told me that I was not going to make it, and that it was going to be a waste of time, and that they knew that I was a big fish in a small pond, and that in the big pond I was a nobody, right? Why do I tell you this story? I tell you this story because I'm looking at your exams from a professional's perspective. And I understand that many of you are enjoying the class and you're learning stuff, but when it came to looking at the linked list stuff, from the professional's perspective, when I was looking at what you had written down on the page, I was trying to imagine what do you call them? Like the show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? What is it? Improv. I was trying to imagine an improv troupe trying to dramatize your code. I was trying to imagine them dramatizing your code so that you could see what you're telling the actors to do. Because it seemed to me that many of us have no clue what we are telling the actors to do in our program. No clue. No clue. Makes no sense at all when I read it. Now, whether or not those are mistakes or what's going on, I'm just telling you that if you go into a job interview and you put down on the job interview for the questions on linked list, the stuff that you gave me for the exam, then they will kindly escort you out and they will say, thanks for coming. That's what's going to happen. That's where we are. That's the reality of where we are. You have to practice the linked list stuff. You have to. You're going to see it again on the final. You have to practice it. It's incredibly important. It's the language that you speak to interviewers with. Yeah?
Can you practice without, like, basically just writing the same thing from memory over and over again?
That's a good question. The question was, how do we practice without just writing the same thing from memory over and over again? Because you don't want to memorize the code. the idea is to just make up your own silly tasks. Let's think about linked lists. So we had some simple ones. I only gave you simple ones on the exam, like copy a list, destroy a list. Later on, maybe you'll do things like add to the tail of a list, or add to the head of a list, or add to the tail recursively, and those kinds of things. But it could be way more complicated than that, and you can arbitrarily make it weird. Like, what if I had a list and I only wanted, and we talked about this before, but if I only wanted to separate it into even and odd lists, like here's the list of all the even jumps, and here's the one of all the odd jumps, without losing any links. And these are just exercises that you just do for yourself. Could I make it to where when I was done, I pulled out and made a brand new list that only had the 5s that occurred in the real list? And the thing is that you just have to be a little bit creative with yourself to say, what can I do to this list? It doesn't have to have necessarily a purpose. You just have to practice. Yeah.
Yeah, let's have like, is it only numbers, or can you use like characters or strings?
You can use characters, whatever you want. Yeah, you can build whatever it is that you want. So I was just great in the exams, and I was reading that, and I was embarrassed for us. It reminded me of the embarrassed feeling that I felt when I tried out for Disney, and they escorted me out in the hallway there. You know. Yep.
So like, you know, the whole time I was in this class, because like I noticed that we like reviewed more about like those opaque objects. I think like, I know linked list is like one topic, so we only reviewed it for like only like 1 or 2 days. Mainly that was part of the reason for me as to why I didn't know as much. I focused too much on the opaque objects instead.
That's fair, and I've thought about that. Maybe that's just my teaching method, you know, because everything that we do in the class, we wrap in opaque objects, and there are lots of things that get wrapped in there. Like we're doing trees now, and trees are going to get wrapped into opaque objects, but we only did trees for a few days. But they're going to get wrapped into this reoccurring theme of opaque objects, and the reality of the situation is that opaque objects is not the biggest, most important aspect. It's all the little things that we do that get wrapped in opaque objects. Yeah.
Maybe we do the opaque objects first, and then we do linked list before the exam. Then you can tell us like, oh, this is very important for interviews and this and that.
Okay. Well, regardless, let me show you the exam, and I need to plug in my laptop somehow. I don't know how to do this exactly. This is a new everything. Can I move this away from me?
Knock your laptop off.
Da, 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 da.
What are you doing?
Dr. Adams, although scheduling gave us this room, Echo still records the old room.
That's what I thought would happen. By the way, I spent all morning trying to contact them, and the number that I got was not valid, and then the guy that I named that I got, he was on vacation, and then I tried several things. So when we are officially in the class, I'm going to record it on Blackboard Collaborate. We'll still have a recording. You won't get my little pep talk at the beginning. Wasn't really a pep talk, right?
Just now?
Yeah, you won't get that one.
Good thing I recorded it.
What? Get out.
I listen to it every night.
That means you can stop recording though, because he's recording the rest.
No, I'm not really recording it.
Not yet.
We're getting closer though.
I just missed the part where he said, I thought I was the best trumpet player in the big.
I just can't wait for Jonathan's phone to halfway through this recording say, you're out of storage.
I have 256 gigabytes, I'm good.
200
I don't believe you.
256
And you're
gigabytes.
using all 255 of them. Because when you buy a phone with more data, they're like, let's fill it up with more stuff that he doesn't need.
I'm trying.
That's
This
why
is
I
a-
buy Android.
It's like, you know, you buy a 64 gig phone and they're like, yeah, let's when they buy it, let's like load it up with 32 gigs worth of stuff that they don't need.
I don't know how to record this. I don't know how to record the exam.
Install OBS.
So it's gonna be up to Jonathan to post the. He'll put it on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know how to record this part.
How do you plan on posting that, Jonathan?
On
Talking to
YouTube.
camera.
Probably like a private YouTube video and just post it to the Discord or something?
I'll make it public.
You should not make going over the exam public on YouTube.
No, not the exam. I'm talking about your pep talk.
Oh, my pep talk.
I
Why
have
can't you
to-
see anything?
I paid $1,500 for that pep talk. I posted it on YouTube publicly.
No, that's the wrong way.
$1,500.
For this semester.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I
They
don't
told
know
me
about
there was like 1,700 and they took off 200.
Wait, Doc Dams, you want to just go the old-fashioned way and use your markers to review the exam on a whiteboard?
Yeah.
For the summer semester.
I-
I
It
don't
has to
know.
retract fully in order to come back out.
Was you bored with me? Probably not. Probably we were good.
Hi, what's your name?
Armand. Missed the pep talk.
This is wonderful.
What is going on? Why do they have cooler projectors than us?
I don't
Fuck
know.
around and us to rip it down like 14 times when we're in our class.
Why does the business building get AC? We're the backbone of the school.
Okay, I think this is doing something. What? That's awesome. Thanks.
This is
Alright.
they know we already live in dumps.
Realistically, who else do you come more engineering, business?
Engineers.
All
It's because
labor.
they know we already live in slumps though.
That's true.
We walk around in the
Labor
house
is
wearing
responsible,
like
it creates labor.
maybe shorts, if best, at best.
Menu. Maybe menu does something.
You know those websites that tell you that business is important? We made those.
Hello, menu.